Good morning, everyone. Welcome. So excited to see everyone. It is officially 9 a.m. Central Time. Welcome to our first live webinar of the week. I'm so excited to be joining you. My name is Jennifer Bonner. I'm the manager of nursing services here at Archer Review, and I am delighted to be joining you for our first webinar of the week. So today we're going to be talking all about conquering those nerves, talking about test anxiety, whether it's for the NCLEX, whether it's for your nursing school exams. We're going to talk about all of those things. I see somebody that's getting ready to test tomorrow. This will be a great last moment opportunity. Just kind of some reminders for you as we go along. So, a little bit about me. Like I said, I serve as the manager of nursing services here at Archer Review. I've been with Archer for about 3 years now, and I absolutely love what I do. So, my background right out of nursing school, I was in the ICU, went into endoscopy, labor and delivery, went back to school to become an FNP, realized during that time that I really loved women's health. So, I became a midwife, finished my DNP shortly thereafter, and then spent a couple years at the bedside before I transitioned into education. And so a lot of what I do here is tutoring, webinars, looking for opportunities to encourage you as nurses. Here at Archer, we are wanting to give you things that we wish we had, and that a lot of that is support and encouragement along the way. So I'm curious, where are you joining me from? And if you have questions along the way, please don't hesitate. If you have questions that you need answered, please go ahead and put those into the Q&A for me, and I will answer as many of those as I possibly can. And if you are just commenting or answering one of my questions, please go ahead and put that into the webinar chat. If you're joining me on YouTube or Facebook, go ahead and use the comment box. I see someone's joining us from Nigeria, New Jersey, Texas, Philadelphia, California. A few of you are testing this week. North Carolina, Philippines. Awesome. I love the fact that we get to come together as nurses and future nurses, regardless of where we are around the globe. Ghana, Florida, New York. Awesome. So, my next question is, how many of you, if you feel comfortable, how many of you struggle with test anxiety? And chances are you're going to find that you are not alone, because the majority of us really do struggle from test anxiety. And so when I took my boards, I had to wait a couple days. I didn't pay for the fast, right away results of, in the next 24 hours or so, the quick results. I waited. And so I was actually in a dental appointment, and my husband texted me my nursing license number. He's like, "Hey, congrats." So in that period of time, I just knew I failed. I walked out of the testing center. I was sobbing. My husband was at work. I went home, just knew I had failed. Um, when I took my midwifery boards, I got my results right away. They came right off the printer. I turned my head, pulled them off the printer with my hands shaking like this, folded it, and put it in my bag, because I knew I didn't want to find out that I failed alone. I wanted someone else to be there with me. So, test anxiety is a real thing, and I see a lot of you are struggling, and a lot of us here at Archer Review, very similar. A lot of us have that testing anxiety, and so we want to impart some things that were helpful for us along the way. So, the first thing that we need to understand is, what is testing anxiety? It's a performance stressor. So, there's something that you're doing that determines the next step, right? So, when we take our NCLEX, or we're taking our nursing exam. So let's say you're taking a midterm. Well, that determines your grade, right? That determines how much stress you're going to be in the second part of the class. If you're taking your NCLEX, it determines whether you get to start practicing as a nurse right away. When in my nursing school, when I was there, we had a test that determined your ability to get to the next semester. And so every time I sat down to take it, I thought, "Oh man, if I don't pass this, man, all that money is lost, all that time, I'm going to have to start over." Some places won't even let you roll over those credits, and you really do have to start over. So it's just something that is stressing you out because of your performance is required. The how you perform is going to determine that next step. And so a lot of times what happens is because of all this stress going on, we get to the point where we can't even remember what we studied. And we joke that sometimes we can't even remember our name, but really that is true. There are times when if somebody said, "How do you spell your name?" and you get there, you can't remember. And a really excellent illustration of this is when we had our first kiddo, we had an emergent situation. I was very stressed out about it, very anxious about it. We get to the ER and they ask me his birthday. Well, I say and I couldn't remember. I had the month and the date, but I couldn't remember the year. And so they had to have been looking at me like, man, this lady is crazy. Maybe she's kidnapped this kid. I don't know what happened. But because of the stress that was going on, the thought blocking was there. And this is really common, especially for us nurses, because there's a lot of challenging things. There's a lot of things that determine our next step based on our performance. So, one of the best things that we can do for test anxiety is to prevent it. And the first thing that we do to prevent it is to realize okay, what are our symptoms? So, I'm curious if you know and feel comfortable um, sharing, go ahead and let me know in the webinar chat what are some symptoms that you notice well up when you have test anxiety? What are some of those things that well up when you have test anxiety? So, a lot of times for me, I become tachycardic. Yep, Jasmine just said my heart starts racing. I can feel it pounding. So, I get palpitations, which is really scary. You know, when you're a nurse, you're like, oh man, I'm in the middle of my test, I'm having a heart attack. Forgetting, sweating, yes, crying. I get very emotional, absolutely. Lightheaded, I have to pee, absolutely. Yeah, so all of those symptoms are really common, but I want you to know what your symptoms are so that when they well up, you can identify them. So, how do we prepare for this? Well, I want you to be prepared for some. And when you're prepared for some, that's where you start to realize, okay, I know that when I get anxious, I get angry. I had a student that I was working with that said, Jennifer, I sat down, I got so angry, and then all of a sudden I was exhausted. Like I could have taken a nap right there on the computer. So when we know what our symptoms are, then we are able to identify them. So make sure that you're kind of paying attention when these symptoms well up so that you know okay, I have some testing anxiety, let's take a moment and let's just identify it and let's do something about it. Now, what can you do to prevent it? Well, sometimes you can't prevent it 100%, but you can minimize it. So, knowing that you have done everything that you can do in order to prepare. So, making a study plan. If you're getting ready to take a nursing exam, let's say you're in OB and you're getting ready to take an exam on, let's say, prenatal testing. Well, then I want you to start making that plan of what you need to get done before that test arrives. Instead of the night before, you're up all night trying to cram. Because remember, cramming, while it may help you for that particular test, it's not going to be beneficial for you when you take the NCLEX. And as I told my students all the time, if I prepare you for my exam for this class, but I fail to prepare you for the NCLEX, I have failed you. And then I want you to go in with confidence, knowing that you have done everything you can to prepare. You've covered all the bases, you've checked all the boxes, you've done your very best. And then know how the process is going to work. Now, this could be NCLEX, this could be day of your exam. Know where your exam is going to be held, which classroom you're supposed to be taking it in if you're in nursing school. At the college I taught at, we had a particular exam room that we would be, but occasionally things would change and we would move it to a different one. So know where you're supposed to be, know what you need to bring. If you're preparing for your NCLEX, I see a few of you are getting ready to take that this week. Know where your testing center is, know what is allowed and what isn't, what things you're going to need, and have those things ready to go the night before. So all you have to do is grab and go out the door. Now, with that said, being prepared sometimes means doing a test run Now, I love OB. It's my bread and butter. It's my passion. I love to talk about it. And one of the very last things I tell my clients before they go into labor or they have their induction is do a test run. I don't want you being stressed out at, hey, where's the testing center? Where do I park? How do I get there? Oh man, this road is closed. I want you to take a test run about the same time that you're going to need to leave your house on testing day. And I want you to drive to that facility, know where you need to park, know where you need to go in. You can even go in and ask them, hey, is this appropriate? Can I bring this? So I want you to be as absolutely prepared as you possibly can. So when we have noticed that our symptoms are starting to well up, now we're in attack mode, right? We're in combat mode. So I'm curious, when you notice these things welling up, when you notice your heart racing faster, you notice you're starting to sweat a little bit, do you push through or do you take a moment to identify? Let me know in the webinar chat. What do you normally do? Are you a push througher or are you a, hey, I need to take a minute? Okay, I see a few of you that are saying, I push through, I just do it. Actually, the majority of you are telling me I push through. And this is very common for nurses, is that we know that our clients depend on us. And so our needs typically go to the back burner. But this is a moment where I want you to focus on you. Okay, I want you to start thinking about your anxiety toolkit. So we're going to talk about some things that we can do. And these is just kind of a brief run through. We're going to talk about each of these individually, but it begins with positive self talk, and that even starts now. Deep breathing, releasing some tension, and my favorite, the 3-2-1 rule. So when it comes to positive self talk, I want you to think about how would you treat your friend? Okay. So if my friend comes to me and says, Jennifer, there's no way I'm going to be able to pass this exam. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to look at my friend and I'm going to say, you know what? You've been through nursing school. You passed, you graduated, you did an amazing job. You can do this. If my friend comes to me and says, Jennifer, I don't know how I'm going to pass this mental health exam. There's just so much information. I'm not going to say, yeah, you're absolutely right. You can't do this. You're never going to make it. No, I'm going to say, you know what? I'm going to help you study. Or, hey, remember when you said that about the first exam and you came out as one of the top grades, or you passed, or you've been through all these difficult situations. I'm going to encourage my best friend, right? Well, but that we need to do the same thing for ourselves. Positive self talk is that inner monologue that's making us feel good about ourselves. Everything is, and everything else that's going on in our life. It's an optimistic voice that's going to encourage us to look at the bright side of things, pick ourselves up when we fall, and recognize when we fail. So this begins even now. The way you respond to yourself sets you up going on down the road. So hey, I made a mistake, or oh man, I didn't do as well on that exam as I would like. I'm going to try harder next time, or I'm going to make a study guide, make a plan for what's coming next. I haven't been able to get as many questions in today. So tomorrow I'm going to set myself up for success. I'm going to make some breakfast and I'm going to schedule some time. So remember, the way we talk to ourselves is really important. I am a big encourager of getting sticky notes and writing things down that people tell you. Hey, um, Ebony, you're going to be a really great nurse one day. I really enjoyed watching you connect with that patient. Medea, you did an amazing job on that last exam. You should consider being a tutor. So write those things down so that they can be brought back to mind. Now, when we have that negative self talk, it's going to lead to this spiral, this blocking. So I want you to focus on your self talk, that inner dialogue. Okay. The other thing that you can do is deep breathing. So sometimes what this does, it just really gives us a moment to take our attention off of the exam and onto what's going on. So I like to do breathe in for 3, hold it for 3, and let it out slowly through those pursed lips for 3. And that really just takes a moment to take my attention off the exam question or whatever's going on and helps me focus on something else. Counting to 3, feeling that air come through my nose. Now, occasionally there are times when something stinky has happened and I'm focusing on that as well. Or there's a sweet smell or something that is really pleasing to my senses. So pay attention to how that breath feels going into your lungs expanding, how cool that air feels going through your nose. And think about your heart as you're just waiting to exhale. Visualizing. Y'all, right now it is freezing. It is windy where I live. I would much prefer to be on the beach somewhere where it is beautiful. There's gorgeous sunsets. The waves are rolling in. It's hot. It's warm. The sun is beating down. Absolutely. I'd love to be in one of those places. No doubt when I'm taking an exam, I would really love to be in one of those places, right? So I want you to think about other places. So you can do this while you're breathing. Think about places that you truly love to be and that make you feel relaxed. Count your breaths. As you are breathing in, count for 4. As you are just taking a breath or just taking a moment to put your hands in your lap, disconnect from your exam for a minute, just to have a moment. Count your breaths. How many breaths are you taking in? Slow that down. And then belly breathing. This is that slow, that deep. Feel your belly. Um, feel it fill as you breathe in and empty as you breathe out. And again, these are just things that are kind of a disconnecting our attention to give us a moment to reconnect so that we can go back into the exam and finish strong. I love doing this one because it makes me look really, really silly, but it's really, really helpful. So this is another tactic that you can try. And I encourage you to start from the top of your head, go to the bottom of your toes, and crinkle, scrunch up every muscle that you can think of, from your head to your teeth, to your hands, to your arms, to your belly, to your legs, to your feet, to your toes. Hold that and then just relax into your chair. Okay. Do this a couple times. Again, it's taking your attention off of whatever it is that you're doing, that you're looking at, and giving yourself a moment to focus on, okay, I have my head. And I really, during that time, I was so focused on the muscles that I was trying to tense up that I forgot that there are over 100 of you that are watching me being ridiculous on camera. And so it really does help. And it just kind of helps you relax. Now, the last one that I really enjoy is the 3-2-1 rule. And this is 3 things that we can see, 2 things we can hear, and 1 thing we can touch or smell. And this one's a little bit difficult for me getting over a cold, but 3 things that I can see right now is I have a picture of my family on my desk, I have my coffee cup, and I have my glasses case. Okay. So 2 things I can hear. Right now I can hear my house heater going on behind me, and I can hear a dryer going. 1 thing I can touch or smell, there's not a whole lot I can smell right now, but 1 thing that I can touch is somebody left some cards on my desk. Looks like somebody was playing a game or thought about maybe playing a game. So just kind of gives you a moment to look around, kind of take into your surroundings. Normally, I have a candle or a wax burner going, and so those give me kind of smells, especially if you're studying. Find something that calms you down that you enjoy. Usually, when I study, I have all my study materials along with my favorite coffee. Sometimes I'll put a plant out because plants tend to make me happy, especially the ones that are fake because I can't kill them. And then usually my candle of choice. I really like the wood wicks because they have that crackling, which gives me kind of some decompression, helps me feel calm. Okay, so I'm curious, what have you used in the past to help with your anxiety? Because those habits that we develop are going to be really helpful. So let me know in the webinar chat what you've used to kind of decrease. So moving your body, absolutely, I love it. Natalie says I go walking. Praying, yes. Meditation, absolutely. So moving our body, getting our body moving really does help decrease our stress, especially if you're in the middle of it. Now, I don't know that I can tell you to go walking in the middle of your nursing exam, but do remember during your NCLEX, you do get breaks and you can take them as you need them, but they do count against your time. Journaling, just remembering your thoughts, that's really helpful. Meditation, socializing, getting around with friends, having those study groups is going to be really helpful. Now, when it comes to exam day, especially for the NCLEX, and we'll talk about nursing school exams here in just a moment, I want you to try to keep your questions to at least 2 minutes or less. Now, you can take a few more minutes depending on the question, but for the most part, 2 minutes or less. Once you have locked in your answer, don't change it unless, unfortunately, you misread the question. Then please go back, change your answer to what you need to. But research tells us that if we change our answer, most of the time we're changing it to something that is incorrect. And then remember, each question you're receiving is a brand new opportunity to show that you are ready, you are prepared, and you can do this. As long as you are still receiving questions, you're still in the game. And then ask yourself, what's the question asking you? Whether this is NCLEX day or the middle of your nursing exam, ask yourself, what am I being asked? In your head, reword it, five words or less. And then figure out, okay, what am I being asked? Okay, how many answers am I looking for? Is this a select all that apply where that it could be one, it could be all, it could be somewhere in the middle? Or is this one that just requires one answer? And then go ahead and look at each option individually. And remember, prepare for everything that you can. Know where you're going. Know what classroom your exam is going to be in. Know what you need for that day, whether it's your ID or your laptop. If you're in nursing school, some places will have computers for you, depending on how your school operates. Some will require that you bring your laptop. Others will require that you bring your school ID. NCLEX day, they're going to want your ID. I recommend that you leave your phone in your car so you're not distracted and it doesn't accidentally go off in your locker. Know where you need to be, know what time you need to be there. And remember that practice is going to make progress. Remember, you don't have to know it all. You don't have to know it all. You're not expected to know it all. And remember that you are worthy. You can do this. You are capable. And so I'd like to just end with a few different things. If you're looking for a way to study for the NCLEX, we have our SurePass combo. It's our number one recommended package. It comes with our on-demand videos, QBank, our 3-day live review. We have one for RNs and LPNs, but we also have for nursing students our Archer for nursing school. And I'd like to just take a moment to show you what this looks like. So when you go into nursing school, you're going to notice it's going to talk to you about this amazing package. And so we have bundles that you can customize. It's $20 per course. And so if you are in the middle of fundamentals or health assessment, you can see there. If you're in the middle of nutrition or maternity, pediatrics, you can grab those. They come with their own QBank to make sure that you're really understanding those key concepts. They come with videos that are going to break down those things. Because if you're anything like me, when I was in nursing school, we never got to everything we needed to. And I needed just a little bit of extra. If you're someone that struggles with labs, or ABGs, or maybe EKG interpretation, we have something for you as well. So let's go ahead and check out what's going on here at Archer this week. So I'm going to head over, see what webinars we have going on. And you're going to see that tonight, that's right, tonight from 6 to 8 Mountain Standard Time, we have our Archer Review Pharmacology Crash Course with Lauren Korth. So if you're someone that struggles with pharmacology, this is an amazing offering. It's $75 for this 10-hour course where you're going through the big information. So from the general medications to specialties, Lauren's going to walk with you through that. You also receive that recording for 30 days afterwards. So that's an amazing offering. We have NCLEX processing for our international nurses. That is going to be held on the 20th. So that's tomorrow. And then on the 22nd, that's Thursday, we have turning setbacks into comebacks. I'm going to be here talking to repeat test takers about how do we start over. And I noticed a few of you were struggling with how do I go back at it after I've had an unsuccessful attempt? And we're going to talk about all of those things. All right. And then the 24th, we have the 2-hour NCLEX review from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. with Megan Miller. You can register for $35 right here. So let's go ahead and take a look at what offerings we have for tutoring available this week. So we're going to head on over to tutors and we're going to scroll down to see what's going on. So today, the 19th, we have a spot available with Lance. Actually, there's 2 of those available. And then we have our prioritization small group with Shelly this afternoon. That is $25 for an hour session. She's going to be going over all things prioritization. Shelly is an amazing educator if you've never learned with her before. Tomorrow on the 20th, we have the mock NCLEX, and that is from 2 to 3 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Again, $25 if you're just wanting to go through some questions together, get some good information. And then the 22nd looks like our sessions are full. And then don't forget, we have that 2-hour review on the 24th. So thank you so much. I see a few questions. We do not offer certificates for our free webinars, unfortunately. Someone said, does sleeping when I get anxious help? Sometimes it does. Other times, you just need to move your body. You need to find something for your body to do in order to just kind of get rid of some of that anxiety or to channel it. Some people, they just need to switch tasks. So if you're in the middle of studying and all of a sudden you get anxious, moving to a different task for a little bit and then coming back can be helpful. I'm someone that in the middle of anxiety, I shift my focus and I start singing a song that's helpful to me. Or I start thinking of quotes. Those types of things are really helpful. So I hope you found today helpful. Remember, you're not alone. We're here to cheer you on. Here at Archer Review, we are a family and we are with you across that nursing lifespan. We have something for everyone from, hey, I'm going to go to nursing school to I'm in the middle of studying for my NP boards. We're here for you. We are delighted that we get to be along this journey with you. Thank you so much for joining me. I will see you back on Thursday as we talk about turning setbacks into comebacks.